Hi, I haven't fooled anyone to hold camera, and this will be a long and probably boring and tedious video. I will be installing Dynamo lights and hub on my bicycle, and I wanted to show what I can. I'll probably have to spend a lot of time editing and cutting out the boring stuff, but I hope I'll be able to show at least the most important things and hopefully help anyone else trying to install this. Let's start. First thing, this is the model of Dynamo hub I'm using, DH/3D37/QR. It's made by Shimano and it has a direction for rotating, how it should be oriented, and the way to, here are the contacts of for the Dynamo hub, and I will place those to be a bit towards the rear of the bicycle, like this when I mount it. Here it is. I'm not sure if you can see it. It's pointing towards the rear side so that I can more easily access it to unlock it, to disconnect the wheel when I need to replace a tire or replace one, as is the case with this wheel now. Okay, now let's see about the lights. This is the model that I decided to go with. It's made by Bushmüller. Bushmüller. How do the Germans say it? And this is what came with it. I have a light. This is the part that connects the rear light if I want to pass it through, to use this as a universal switch for both the front and rear light. And here it has several operating modes. This is 0 or off. This is S and T. Okay, one of these should work like a sensor to see when it's dark and then go on automatically. I think I should read the instructions manual. And these are the wires that should go to the Dynamo hub. And I need to consult the instructions to see whether the completely black one is the ground. No, they say the black Schwarz is the Strom or the current, the electricity, and Mass or ground is the black and white, Schwarz-Weiße. Okay, corrected myself. When all else fails, read the manual. Okay, now I need to mount this on my bicycle. I'll be using this screw that holds the mudguard in place and use it to hold this in place as well. And that's why I will first unscrew it, then place this over it, and then screw it back in. 5mm Allen and 10mm. Oh, sorry, I need 8mm and 4mm hex or Allen wrench. Okay, let's see how this goes. Okay, the bolt is out. Now I need to check whether it can hold this in place. I need to put a bigger washer and probably a longer bolt. We got these parts that seem to be just for the aesthetics, but let's double check how that might go. Probably like this, and no, maybe I've done it in reverse. Let's try putting this on the back side, the shorter part on the inside from the front. Okay. Okay, and now let's give it a go. Now let's see about this washer. It looks okay. It will hold, most probably. All right. Now let's see if this is good enough. And let's prepare our washer from the other side and the bolt, and let's see. Well, it will hold. It looks good. Looks promising. Okay, before I tighten it, I will realign it. It's not too tight now. I can still push it around and move it around a bit. Let's loosen it just a little bit more to make my job easier. Okay, now I'm pushing the mudguard as far high up as it will go and trying to center this. Okay, that looks about correct. Now let's tighten it. Now it's reasonably tight. Now let's see about the wires. I need to route the wires for the Dynamo hub, and these are the wires for the Dynamo hub. Let's see about that. How much length do we have here? More than enough. Alright, I can either make them cut to size or try to get them a bit like this, so I do not have to shorten it. And I think this is a good idea, and that's what I will use here. Okay, we'll play with this a bit more later, but I think this length is good. Okay, this is the amount of wire exposed that we have. And let's see how much do we need. All right. We have the ground wire that goes through here and then out. And this is about the correct length. Now in order to sleep better, I like to put some solder on the end of the cables to prevent them from oxidation, to protect them from oxidation. It seems to work fine. So I will use this, and this is used to clean the contacts. You just need to put some of it on the wires to make sure that the soldering, whatever it is called, material, flux or whatever, sticks to it. This flux has this also on the inside, but I like to play it safe, so I will place the tips of these wires into this. Okay, there it is. And now let's see about our tool. It's heating up. I'm just putting some of the flux onto the tip, and I will try to transfer it to the wire. There it is, good enough. Okay, this will help prevent any contact from oxidating, but it will still allow me to twist the wires. Okay, turning off the soldering thing, and now let's see. The one, you see, I just soldered the tips, nothing more, not much further. Okay, now I need to use here is the one with the ground, and the other side is for the current. So the black and white is for the ground. I'm threading it through here, and the other side also. I put them in all the way, both, and then I make a bend over the top into the slit that there is, to a small slit. Okay, now the other one. Okay, now they are each into one slit, and I need to put this now on top to hold them in place. There it is, it's clicked in place, and now I will check if it works when I close these contacts. Okay, now when I spin the wheel, it should work as soon as I turn it on. Okay, good. Now what we need to do is I will unlock this contact. Okay, it's free, and now I will need to make sure this is nicely threaded. I don't want to cut it shorter. I will leave some play here in case I need to move this anywhere higher up or down, and I will use zip ties. Große zip ties. Okay. I want to make sure it stays out of the way of the wheel and the tire, but to leave some slack here. Okay, this looks good. I'll tighten it, and now let's see about how many turns I want to make here. This is holding it in place so that I cannot pull on this from the light. This part is still loose while I'm tightening it here. Okay, now 5 hours later, I think this is about right. Okay, we've got our dynamo connected, and the cable is guided around this, and it can be easily disengaged for when I need to remove the wheel or re-engage it back again, which is what I wanted to achieve. Now for the rear light. Here we have this that should probably shrink when I heat it up to insulate, and these connectors, and we got some wire, which is great. We can use this to connect the rear light, and the ends of wires are already made to be blank, so it's brilliant. See, here they've already done what they needed to do, so I will use this wire. I can connect it here to the front light, just to make sure that I use the white and black for the ground, and the other side for the electricity. Okay, they seem firmly connected, which is good, and I can just see where I want to guide it towards the rear side of the bicycle, whether I want to use the top tube or the bottom tube. I will use the top tube. There will be less dirt and debris and everything along the top tube. So let's see. Make a few turns here. Okay. And I will use, this gets in the way. I will use this to hold it in place, since it is already here. Okay. I don't want to get it too tight. I want to be able to make this and come back. So this looks about right. I will tighten it here. Let's double check. All right, great. Let's move on. I have these connectors on my mudguard that I could use to route the wires through the mudguard, and that looks like a neat idea. But I don't think that my mudguards will last too long, so I will not cut the wire short, and I will instead use the length of the wire to keep going. Now let's see what the best way to route this is. Rack looks like a good idea, probably, or just underneath the mudguard and the frame. That looks like an even better idea. Let's see about that route. No, it will get in the way for when I operate the rear brake, because it will go up higher later. Okay. All right. It's usually often routed down the bottom tube and then up, but here I will try to do it, to be creative. Okay. This looks good. Another zip tie to pinch it in place here, and then see where from there should we go. I am expecting rattling and vibration to keep moving the zip ties further down, so I've placed this one here where it cannot move anywhere further, and here above the pivot for the brake, so it cannot move lower further, and here above this mudguard mount, so they will not be able to move. And now I need to somehow secure it to the rack. And let's see whether we have some. Here, this rack has mounts that allow me to thread the wire through a hole in a mount, and that looks like a perfect way of doing it, and I'm very happy with this. However, I will use one more trick. Okay. I'll mark this with some tape, and now let's give this a go and see if I will curse myself later for this brilliant idea. The rack mounts that I wish to use have some sharp edges. It's not sharp, but it's not like this all the way around. This is what I'm threading through. I'm not sure if you can see in the video, so I want to put this over that area of the wires, which is about here. All right. That should be about right, and this should protect them from getting scratched or anything. Let's double check. Yes, that is correct. Fire. Okay, I tried not to put too much heat in order to not melt the wire, but I wanted to get this nice and tight around it. Okay. You can never have too many zip ties. This is probably the most zen video you have ever seen on YouTube. You cannot not like it. I am sorry that I could not get anyone to hold the camera. I hope that my explanations will help. And for the version in my native, I will show close-ups with the camera in hand when I find the time, so hopefully those two videos combined with everyone watching one part in a language they don't understand will make a whole picture. Okay, now we're at the rear. We've got enough wire to spare, and now we need to mount the rear light. And let's try to make that visible. Here we are, and this is the rear light. It's screwed onto this for some reason. Now, these are the mounting holes where I wish to put this, and here we have the contacts. But I also wish to mount this. This is the overvoltage protection, and I'll try to mount it on the inside, and let's see how well this goes. So it will go about here. Let's see. When all else fails, read the instructions manual. Okay, here is the instructions. Let's see if it's visible. It has, here it has like current and ground. I'm not sure if you can see. And where it says current, this is where I want to connect the black wire from the front light, and this is where I want to connect the white and black wire from the front light. And then I'm routing these two towards the rear light, and the white one will be for the rear light's ground. Okay, so the rear light has those marked as plus and minus, not as ground for all I can tell. And I believe that the ground should go to the minus part, and hopefully it will be okay then. I'll see. So this goes here, and this is our wire. And now we have a dilemma whether I should cut this wire short or just pack this somewhere. And I would rather not cut this wire short. I would pack it someplace, the extra. And they have these small connectors that you can buy in shops for electrical supplies and electronics. Yes, these look to be about the correct size. So I'll use those. And I will mount them on these wires. I've got some of this tape that can go over this one, and something that is a bit more narrow. So I'll first place the narrow parts onto the wires and heat them up in place, and then place the wider parts over them. That looks like a good idea. And now I need to connect this to the wire. We'll do a bit more of this soldering. Alright, it's hot. And this time I want this to be beefy, because I will be connecting some connectors to it. So I'm heating up the wire and adding some flux. Alright, This looks good. Before I add connectors, I will put this over the wires on each side, watching so it doesn't drop out, the narrower parts. Alright. Now I need to put these connectors and pinch the wire with them. For that, I will use some small pliers before soldering it all. Pinched it firmly in place, and now I'll put some flux here and try to solder these to the wires. Okay, let's give it a go. This looks good, looks okay. Now I want to heat these two up and hold them in place so they shrink a bit. Okay, let's give it another test. Okay, it goes smoothly. Good. Let's see. Okay, it's covering the contacts, which is what I want to achieve. Okay, it doesn't look bad for now. And let's see if this was a good idea. Here it is. Here we have some wire to spare, and these are the connectors, and we want to connect the, let's see, the white and black one, that is the ground. It goes here where it says the ground. All right, that's about right. Okay, good strong contact, and the one that is all black, like my sole, goes here. That's right. Okay, these contacts look solid. And now for the rear light. Let's see about these mounts. Long enough? Cool. They look to be long enough for our needs. Okay. All right. Now let's see the plus. Okay, good connection, and now the minus. Okay, we've got a good connection here. Now we need to screw it in place. We've got these washers, they go first, and then come the bolts, sorry, the nuts. And we'll see how well that fares. I prefer using those nuts with plastic sleeves, but I'll give this a test first. This is now not as tight as possible. I want to first make a test to see if it works at all. All right, looks okay. And now we need to do something about all these wires that are just a needless extra at this point. And I want to see about packing them somehow so they do not interfere with anything, but so that I also do not cut them short in case I need to mount these lights on another bicycle or something. So here's what I will do. First, to gather all the excess and to wrap it a few times, and then of course, if you haven't already guessed it, use a zip tie. But this is about it. I want to thank you if you've sat through this entire video. No matter how much I edit it, it will have to be quite long. So I hope this will help at least some people if they are planning to mount their bicycles, to equip their bicycles with Dynamo hub run lights. So that's the main idea of this video. And I'm sorry for the highly unprofessional and imperfect video quality. It's the best bang for the buck that you could get still, probably. And that's it. Cheers. If you like this video, you can click on subscribe and choose this bell option, select all, so you get notified whenever I upload a new video.